Hi there guys, and welcome to the first ever, what are we going to call it? The news broadcast from Extreme Fishing and Blowdown. So we are here in Extreme Fishing. This is the shop that I get all my tackle and all my bait. I'm here with Johan from Extreme Fishing, the owner of Extreme Fishing. And today we're going to be covering a little bit of what's going on in the garden route, and it's going to be our first episode. We're going to try and do it every week. We might expand to get news from different parts of South Africa, but our knowledge is based, and the knowledge that we get and the info that we get is all more based on the garden route. So we're going to be covering a lot of that. Fresh of the Knysna Winter Festival Skins competition, and Blowdown actually did quite well there. You have to go and check out that episode because the fish was small, but the prizes that we got was pretty big. So big news in this week is definitely the big swells and the bad weather that we're experiencing at the moment. A couple of nice white steamers that came out last week. The guys were targeting the Dannaby area. There was a couple of them coming out in the Kleinkrans area as well, wilderness that side. Other than that, Johan, what fish can the guys expect to target this week? Big swell, we've got big swell, bad weather. So I know it's better to stay at home actually. But if you want to go fishing, areas that you would prefer to go fish, what fish would you prefer to go? And also what bait would you say the guys can use for this week?
Rock areas to target is mostly your rocky beach, stay off that for the week. And bait for that, it's going to be mostly mussel, red bait, red crab if you have or can get. And then you're going to target cracker, galjoen. Steenies, I don't think they're going to swim in this.
Surf's a little bit too big.
Too big now.
So yeah. What type of surf are you looking for a white stem, Russ?
It's usually flat.
Up into 1 meter?
Different views on that one. Some people like it a bit heavier than or bigger than 1 meter, up to 2 meters.
Okay.
And then from there on, that's bigger than that, rather stay away.
We are in winter season, and a winter season is known for your bigger carp in calmer seas. So if you get a flat sea somewhere that you can have a really flat sea, a livey for a carp maybe.
Yeah, and then you'll also with that livey pick up
Garrick as well.
In
Yeah,
the sea, a bit slower, but they are around.
Okay.
We have had guys in this last month catching nice Garrick on live bait.
Okay. Yeah, and we actually went last week. We went to Robert Point.
Yes.
Exciting episode. Beautiful, absolutely stunning walk all the way there.
Yes.
We went with Rikus, and what a lot of fun actually we had. Not a lot of fish. We went there for bonnies, and there was a report the day before we went, a 22 kilogram Garrick that came out on a plug, and also some good catches of bonnie there.
Nice.
Unfortunately, the one bonnie that we hooked got taken by the seal. So long walk for nothing at the end of the day, but it was still a fun.
Scenic route.
Yeah, scenic route, and it was actually a very fun walk. So that's something you can also maybe want if you want to do is Robert Point for some bonnies. They are still around. When we were fishing the Knysna skins now, we realized that the water was pushing in, was around about 16 degrees, and the water in the estuary was a little bit colder, down to around about 13.5. So the estuaries are a little bit cold at the moment. No steenies, there was 94 anglers, and only one size steenie came out, a lot of smaller ones. So not ideal to target the grunters and the steenies at the moment in the estuaries. I'd rather say go for, like we said now, galjoen and cracker, rocks with your softer baits, your mussels, white mussel and red bait.
Yeah. With the cold coming in now, the galjoen
yes
should be getting fatter. They're already fat,
okay.
But with the colder weather, usually snow on the mountains and what do you call those, starting to bloom.
Oh, okay.
Usually get your bigger galjoen in. That's the old saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, talking about galjoen, there is a massive galjoen derby, the Extreme Fishing Galjoen Derby coming up, the 27th of July. Don't miss that one. Tickets are available at a couple of tackle shops as well. But if you're not sure where to get your ticket, come into Extreme Fishing. You're going to get your bait, you're going to get all your tackle, you're going to get the info of where to fish. Massive prizes in this competition once again. I must say the prizes in the competition in the garden route is really big for the fishing comps. The organizer of the competitions goes through a lot of trouble to get the best prizes. Okay, let's talk about a little bit about that. Let's talk about tackle in general. a nice setup to target galjoen with? I see you've got a couple of things here in front of you.
Yeah, it all depends on your area you're going to fish. Usually it's from a 12 foot rod to maybe a 14 you're going to look at. Some of the guys want target areas that's a bit further than usual, go with a 14, and then mostly the guys go with the 12 because it's not a distance casting for
You want to
fish.
cast in those little holes and gullies.
Yes, so it's mostly short rods, what you prefer mostly. There's a few on the market. 2 to 4 ounce is usually the rod you look at.
Okay.
You don't want too heavy. It's not a, it fights nicely. It's not a big fish. You always want to pull out like a cracker behind the rock. They will go there, but you will be able to nicely get it out.
Okay, a couple of names of the rods that the guys can pick. Let's go with a budget version. What type of rod would you recommend for galjoen?
Depends what your budget is.
Let's start with a lower budget, the entry level.
Under 1,000, you'll maybe look at the Assassin Slayer.
Okay.
12-13 foot. They nicely balanced, nice weight ratio on them, and they come under 1,000 rand.
Okay, and then let's go into the 2,000 range.
2,000 rand range, you'll now be able to pick up the older Kuma Euphoria. No, Precision. Sorry.
Precision, a Kuma Precision. That's actually the rod that I am fishing with at the moment, and I must say I'm fishing with a 14 foot. And what I really enjoy about the 14 foot, just gives you that little bit more height. So when you are stuck behind something, that little bit of height just helps you to get out a little bit more. The shorter rod, obviously easier to cast into the little holes, but if you're stuck, you don't have that height to get your sinker out. So I enjoy fishing with a 14 foot, but that's a personal preference. It's not to say that you have to fish with a 14 foot. Some guys prefer the 12 foot. So the Kuma Precision, I really enjoy that rod, I must say. Okay, and then let's go top end. What are you looking at top end?
Top end, you go from the Precision to the Euphoria. That's also in your 3,000 rand, close to your 3,000 rand ranges, and then you go up to the Assassin Evos, and then the guys with the big guns go with the Champion. But I would say a good set in top quality is the Assassin Evo you look at.
Okay, so that's your range. Then I've seen you've got a rod here in front of us. It's the Hoti Rise Kayasuto. Okay.
13 foot 6, 3 to 5 ounce. Also, it's a perfect in between rod for gullies, and maybe if summer comes and you want to go on the surf for anything else, good selection.
Good for cracker and galjoen.
Yes.
Budget wise,
Cracker,
what are you looking at?
Cracker, it's a bit light for cracker.
Okay.
But you will be able to get it out if you catch one.
Okay.
Cracker, you want something heavier, 6 to 8 ounce, 5 to 7 ounce.
If you're targeting cracker.
If you're targeting straight, just targeting those things, rather go a bit heavy, because your tackle needs to be heavy. It's thick braids, thick lines, and you need that stiffness to bring that fish out of the rocks.
When you are targeting galjoen, you normally, the spots that we target, you don't want to target the spots that's easy accessible.
No.
It's more the hard to get places. So you normally have to walk quite a distance to get there. So taking a rod, you don't always have the flexibility to take 2 rods, because it's going to be a tricky walk, it's going to be a long walk. So you want to have a little bit of an all-rounder rod that you can target maybe as you're walking. There's a sand beach, like when you're walking to Gonas, there's a piece of sand that you can target your white steenies and cob on, and then you get to the rocky part where you can target cob and galjoen. So this one is a all-rounder rod that you can target everything on. Okay, and then reels, reel size. Let's start with reel size. What reel size, and also braid, the pound on braid or nylon, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, for reels, they also start on, you can go low budget, your Kuma ranges, you get quite a big range there, well priced, and then you go up to your Daiwas and Shimanos, but that is all preference, like buying a car.
Yeah, it's the old debate between Ford, Toyota, Isuzu. It all depends on what brand you would like.
That's the most difficult part when buying a reel, is what you prefer.
Okay, reel size.
Reel size, mainly galjoen 6,000s, and some guys go to the 8,000s.
Okay.
Bit big, but 6 is your nice in between size.
A little bit lighter when you're casting.
Yes, and when you're walking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I see you've got the Saragossa here in front of us.
8,000. This is one of the prizes we're going to have in the Galjoen Derby.
Okay.
So very
Cool.
nice.
Very
top,
nice.
Top of the range reels. They're all well priced. They go between 5 and 6,000. It's difficult.
It's
to
expensive. It's expensive.
It's an expensive reel.
It is
yeah.
expensive.
But it is quality.
What braid would you put on?
For this reel.
Yeah, well, for let's say for the 6,000 to go and catch cracker and galjoen.
Cracker and Galjoen, you'll go mainly between 40 50 pound.
Okay.
But guys targeting just Galjoen usually go with, some of them go with a 20. That's a bit extreme. But you get the guys that go with a 30.
Okay.
They want light for Galjoen.
Yeah.
So it's not a heavy tackle. It's literally 16 kilo lines, all lighter, thin braids, and so on. So
Very direct.
yeah,
I must say that's something that I've switched over from multiply now to grinders and braid, and it's so much nicer when you're fishing in between the rocks and even estuary fishing that you can see every bite, every bump. You can feel it. It's very direct. So if you're still one of the old school guys, and there's nothing wrong in fishing multiply with nylon. Everybody's been catching the fish for many years on those rods and reels. But if you're looking to switch over, it really is amazing once you start experiencing that directness of the bite, and you can actually feel every single thing when you're rolling, when your sinker is rolling. You can feel your sinker is rolling in between the rocks, and when you're fighting a fish, you can actually feel that it's stuck in a muscle because it's so direct on the braid.
Yeah.
So it actually makes a huge difference. You know exactly what's going on at the end of your line.
yeah, and especially when you want to pull your sinker out of the rocks, the directness makes it that the sinker comes out a bit easier
Yes.
than with nylon, because the nylon's got the stretch. It's got like a delay reaction to that sinker, and where your braid is, when you hit it to get it out and you stop reeling, and it's the immediate effect where it comes
Yes.
up quicker.
Then something. Let's go galjoen fishing because it's a galjoen derby.
Yes.
J-hook or circle hook?
Ah, that's that's the same as the reels. So for us in the shop self, we get guys, they want the J-hook, and then some guys, nowadays prefer the circle, but you still get those guys that jump to J's. They want to strike the fish, they don't want to wait for it to set in. And then type, there's a lot of types of hooks, but they look at, there's mainly 2 hooks they look at the moment. It's your React from Wet Sports, and then the Adrenaline circle hooks, the 2Os. And there's a debate again, red hook, black hook. So you have to find the hook that's going to work for you. So if you're new to the game, try a bit of both. Take a J hook, take a circle hook. The fun thing about this is it doesn't actually matter, because putting on red bait, it's a soft bait.
Yes.
So with circles, you usually want your hook open, but with the soft bait, you can actually close up that whole hook and a little bit of bait cotton.
Yeah.
Galjoen don't like that cotton, irritates them. So a little bit of bait cotton on top just to keep it there when casting. You're not going to do a far cast, so it's more of a lunge you're doing to get it in that hole. So it's not needed for mummifying your bait onto that hook.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so and then talking about bait again, pink prawns
Pink prawns? No.
for galjoen?
No.
Not. Okay,
Not a preferred bait.
not a preferred bait, more your white mussel and your red bait.
Yeah, you'll
Okay.
target other fish with that pink prawn, and you will maybe get your galjoen, your crazy galjoen here and there, but it's not gonna be, you're gonna come and buy in pink prawn to go target galjoen. It's mostly white mussel or red bait, stinky baits.
Stinky baits. Okay, on the deep sea front, we've covered a lot about the surf fishing now. We've said about the white stennies coming out. We've talked about the bonnies that came out. We talked about the upcoming fishing competition. We've talked about galjoen and cracker. Let's talk about spearfishing and deep sea fishing now. On the spearfishing front, water is still very much dirty. We haven't been in the water for quite some time. Swell is big, and that picks up a lot of sediment from the ground. So unfortunately, not shore diving, and in the deep, it's not looking good at all. Reports has come in from deep sea fishing. There is a couple of winter carp around. The guys have been catching some decent carp in the Gourits area. The Mossel Bay guys has been driving all the way to Harold's Bay, Huang. That area seems to be holding a couple of fish. The guys that's going out from Caimans, they have landed a couple of fish in the wilderness area. Not so many reports of fish coming out from the Knysna area. And then the hake, the stockfish, they've been quiet for a while now. I haven't heard any reports of decent hake being caught, but we went out about a week ago and we did manage to catch a couple of nice cob when we want to water, a couple of these 3 to 5 kilogram cobs, and then one cob of 15 kilogram that also came out. So yeah, the water's not looking too bad for the winter. Deep sea guys hadn't done too badly, but we're still waiting for that big run of hake, and it might be because there was a couple of trawlers and longliners along our coast the last 2-3 weeks, so it might be that they already took all the hake out. Yeah, it's always bad when those guys come along. It takes some time to recover. Okay guys, to sum it up, this week's probably not going to be a good week for fishing, looking at the barometric air pressure, looking at the big swells and everything, but there is some coffee, so come in, have a chat to Johan at the crew here at Extreme Fishing. Stock up, get your baits ready for next weekend's Extreme Fishing Galjoen Derby. It's going to be massive. Pick your spots, go and scout your spots next week to get everything ready, and then we'll see you Monday in the next episode. Cheers guys.
Cheers.